The erosion of liberty can occur in many ways. Often it is arrived under the pretense of convenience and security. By focusing only on the immediate benefits of an action or policy, we risk overlooking potential danger and falling into a subversive trap. One of the most subtle yet far-reaching of these traps is the war on cash. It is a war not declared in speeches nor waged with bullets, but it proceeds relentlessly. Cash, paper bills, and metal coins has served as the default medium of exchange throughout American history, but in recent decades, physical currency is methodically being replaced. Debit cards, mobile apps, and online banking have transformed how an increasing number of transactions occur. Technology often makes life easier, but when voluntary convenience morphs into coerced conformity, freedom fades into state control. The government's hostility toward cash is not theoretical, it is operational. For example, laws require banks to report transactions over $10,000. Depositing too much cash can trigger an investigation for structuring, a crime invented not for what you buy, but for how you deposit your own money. Structuring is when you deposit $9,000 on Monday and another $9,000 on Tuesday to avoid the reporting rule. Even if the money is legally earned, such acts are a federal felony because the assumed intent was to evade reporting. Law-abiding citizens have also had their assets seized under civil forfeiture laws simply for carrying large sums of cash. Even though no crime is proven and no charges even be filed, the pretense that the money is suspected of being connected to criminal activity is often enough. Meanwhile, the government is making the use of cash more difficult and less practical. Coins have become increasingly useless in everyday life. A penny costs more to mint than it is worth. Same with nickels. Even quarters, once prized for vending machines and parking meters, now have little use in modern infrastructure. Even paper currency is fast becoming pocket clutter rather than a store of value. This depreciation is no accident. It is a result of deliberate monetary policy. As inflation erodes purchasing power, the denominations of cash do not reflect practical reality. Even though a $100 bill in 2025 buys less than a $20 bill did a generation ago, the denominations remain the same. There is no $500 or $1,000 bill available to the public, even though denominations as large as $10,000 were once printed. Why not issue higher denominations to keep pace with inflation? The answer is it allows individuals to transact outside the reach of digital surveillance. High-denomination cash is harder to track, harder to tax, and harder to control, and for a government increasingly interested in monitoring its citizens, that is a problem. That brings us to central bank digital currency, CBDC. CBDCs are state-controlled digital money issued and managed by central banks. At first glance, this may sound like just another form of digital payment, but the implications are vastly different. With CBDCs, every transaction would be recorded, stored, and subject to review, not just by your bank, but by the government. Privacy would no longer be an option. The power to monitor, limit, or even reverse transactions would lie in the hands of bureaucrats. Imagine a future where your spending could be capped, your account frozen, or your purchases restricted. The social credit systems in places like China offer a glimpse of where this could lead. Under such systems, financial access is tied to behavior. Express the wrong opinion or donate to the wrong cause, and suddenly your money doesn't move. In a world of CBDC and no cash alternative, compliance and subservience become the conditions for economic participation. Cash is more than a payment method. It is a bulwark of individual autonomy. It allows private exchange, charitable giving, and emergency preparedness. It enables individuals to sidestep predatory fees, avoid surveillance, and retain a measure of control over their lives. In short, it is a tool of freedom. Once cash is eliminated and replaced with centrally managed digital currency, there is no going back. Power once given to the state is seldom, if ever, returned. The ability to opt out of the system, to hold wealth privately, to spend without oversight, and to exist economically without the consent of our financial overlords will disappear. Digital payments have their place, but so does cash. The issue is not about resisting innovation, it's about preserving choice. The moment all transactions are digitized, the tools of freedom morph into the tools of servitude. The war on cash is not a war against outdated tradition. It is a war against privacy and independence. It is a step toward a future where, by overseeing your money, the government manipulates your behavior. The choice is between freedom and control, between a future where the state can veto your financial life and one where you remain master of your resources. To preserve economic freedom, we must resist the march toward state-controlled digital currency, because in the end, freedom may die not with a bang, but with a keystroke.
Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Freedom and freedom. So let's keep it that way.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers.
Everything in the Bill of Rights tells the government what it can't do to restrict my freedom.
Make government more the servant and not the master of us all. In this free nation, we do not choose to be ruled. We elect to be governed.
Do not support your own oppressors. Stop letting the system exploit you.
I think that the real job that we have that confronts us is to somehow be able to sell our fellow Americans on the moral superiority of personal liberty.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.